How's it going? Jemi's World is here. Yes, we are here and back with another video. I'm gonna give you guys 4 thriller books I don't hear talked about enough. These are books that either introduced me to a new author, literally put me in shambles. My first 6-star read of 2025, and I don't hear anyone talking about it, okay? We're gonna get into it right here. You have heard it here first. Make sure you guys do all those things. Like this video, comment below if you're new by saying I am new. Welcome to the channel if you are new, and if you are back, we are glad to have you. And hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit the bell for all the notifications on your girl. And let's go. This first book introduced me to a new author. This is her debut novel. This is the second book I read in 2024, getting me right back into reading. We have Megan Lally with That's Not My Name. This book is about a young girl who wakes up in like the middle of the forest in like a bank, which is like a deep area where no one can see you. Nobody will know you're there. She doesn't know why or how she got there. She ends up crawling to the top of this bank, and somebody sees her, takes her to the police station. The police are trying to figure out who she is, how she got there. She doesn't remember her name, where she came from, who she is at all. Out of nowhere, this older gentleman comes into the police station and says, "Oh my gosh, I found you." We're just gonna leave it there. She ends up going with him because the police officer gets confirmation with a birth certificate, social security card, and photos, like literal family photos. And then the girl is like, "Well, I guess he's my dad. I mean, that's what he's telling you." So this book is a YA thriller novel. This is Megan Lally's debut novel. And when I tell you guys, this book is a banger. It literally had me in shambles the entire time. It had another POV with the girl's boyfriend and how they're blaming him for her disappearance / potential death. And now he, as well as his friend and her best friend, is banding together and trying to figure out where she is and what happened, and hopefully they can bring her back home alive. This book was not a typical YA. This book was so good. It packed an amazing punch. I rated this book a absolute 5-star, and I am definitely recommending and forcing you to put it on your TBR, because what are you doing? Megan Lally is that girl, and I know as she continues to progress into this fiction space, she's going to continue to drop banger after banger after banger. This next book is another book I don't hear talked about enough at all. I got intrigued by this book last year just based on the cover alone. We have The Vacancy in Room 10. This is by Serafina Nova Glass. This is about a woman who had it all. She had the mansion, the beautiful looking stud husband, and she was engaged and had everything. Out of nowhere, her engaged fiance leaves her for the help, and now she is kicked out of their house and has to go figure out where she's gonna live. The only thing she has is her car, and that's it, and like some clothes, her designer clothes, all that type of stuff. Boom. She ends up finding this job in the want ads in the newspaper for a property management manager / maintenance lady, and she likes fixing things. This is her like hidden passion she wanted to do before she met her fiance. So she decides to take the job. She gets a place to live, and she gets to do what she likes to do. Once she sees where this is gonna be, at a rundown motel, she feels like her life is over. On the other side of the POV, we have another female main character where her husband has just allegedly committed suicide, and she is trying to figure out what happened, what went wrong. On top of that, he commits suicide allegedly in this motel that the first female main character is working at as the property manager / maintenance lady. The wife of the husband who committed suicide is trying to figure out why would he rent or lease a motel at this motel, this rundown motel on the side of the road where there's nothing at. She literally lives in his old leased room at this motel to figure out what happened, what went wrong, and if he committed suicide or was it an inside job. This book has funny elements. This book is fast paced. This book has a lot of like side characters that are like sketchy and like nosy but have their own little lives in this motel, and they all meet at this pool in the front of the motel. And if you want the tea, you better go sit out there with them to get the tea. They have those characters who are super nosy, the ones who talk mess about everybody, the ones who knows everything about everybody. And it just goes and goes. Like it starts to twist and turn, and it starts to like tumble and tumble and tumble into something insane. This book had a side of mystery slash a side of like laughter slash a side of what the F is going on. Am I recommending you to add this to your TBR? Yes, do it now, because this is something that will get you out of a slump. I rated this at 3.75, and the reason why I rated it that was because of the reveal. Once I found out everything unraveled, I was like, oh. It didn't surprise me that much, and it could be because I've read a bunch of thrillers and I just know like, okay, this could be the reveal, and it ended up being what I guessed. But do I recommend this to you still? Abso-freaking-lutely, because it was very fun and quick and easy to read. This next book is from my current favorite author. I just told you about her debut. This is her second book she released. She released this year in February, and you know I had to go get it, and I read it. And when I tell ya, We Have No Place Left to Hide. This is by Megan Lally. This is my girl. She is giving me GOAT status already, and she only has 2 books out. This book is about a young girl who is trying to make sure she upholds her family name. Something happened in the past, and she is just trying to stay in their good graces until she goes off to college. In this story, they are focused on getting accepted into these Ivy League schools. The female main character, she is so anxious and just so like adamant on getting accepted to Yale, and she is waiting to get her acceptance letter. She finally receives it. She tells her parents. She's so glad her parents are finally happy and proud of her again because of what she did in the past. They were not feeling her. They was not talking to her. They was looking at her crazy. Her best friend is like, yo, let's go to this Ivy party. Like, it's going to be fun. Dylan's going to be there, which is another male main character in the story. She's like, I don't know. I don't want to do anything to like mess up my family's like name. And da, da, da. The female main character's dad is supposed to be an elected judge and trying to go into politics. So she is trying to lay low until she goes to college, and still lay low because her reputation's still going to be, you know, it's still gonna be like in her family's name, and like really she gotta make sure she on point. She gets convinced to go to this party, and while these things are transpiring, she is getting these no caller ID calls sent to her phone, and they're getting sent at a mass capacity. Like when I tell you mass capacity, I mean 10 to 20 missed calls. She looks at her phone, she starts to be like, I'm just gonna avoid this. She puts her phone on airplane mode and acts like it doesn't exist. The book progresses, they go to the party, and it's a lot of drama. One thing that blew mine in this story, this is a YA novel, right? One thing that blew mine in the story specifically was just the catty, mean girls slash Pretty Little Liar type of thing. But more Mean Girls. If you see Mean Girls, you see like the head girl just trying to be that girl and just picking on everybody type of vibe was in here, and it was starting to get kind of annoying. But did I stick with it? Yes. Am I gonna recommend you to stick with this? Please, because one thing, when it turns, it turns. And one thing about Megan Lally, like, she's really good at writing books that are really realistic, and she writes the story very smooth and refreshing. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm like forcing myself to finish the book. I rated this book a 4-star, and I definitely recommend you guys to read this, because read it after That's Not My Name. Do that. And then tell me which one you like most, or if you've already read it, let me know. If you haven't, go check her out. Even though it's YA, I still recommend you guys to give it a chance, because her writing is just so great to where it's going to smoothly like pull you out of a slump, like so gracefully, and just so, she's just great. I just can't even, just go read the book. And finally, the heavy hitter of them all. This is the first book I rated a 6-star in 2025. we have none other than Some Choose Darkness. This is by Charlie Donnelly. This book is about a forensic reconstructionist. Her name is Rory Moore. She has recently found out her father just passed away, and her father is an attorney at this very big law firm. She is going to clean out his law firm, and when she gets there, she sees this envelope that has another case inside of it, right? So she opens it up and she sees that this is a case that her father has been working on for a very long time, and it looks like this guy he's been helping is about to go be up for parole. This guy he's been helping for this long and like big amount of time is supposed to be a serial killer who killed his wife in like 1979. And now the judge is making Rory Moore, she's a forensic reconstructionist, but she has her law degree. And the judge is trying to tell her, like, we don't have any more time. We can't push this back. You're a licensed attorney. You're going to take on the case. We already have everything in order. You just got to be there, send him on his way, send him to his, like, residence, everything. Like, they already have everything in order. And Rory Moore is like, I don't want to do that. I don't even practice law. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Boom. This book is set from 1979 to 2019. And in 1979, the guy who is getting out on parole, his wife is the main character in that setting. She is the one that is having like very like mental health problems. Once she like gets hung up on something, she's adamant on figuring out what happened. In 1979, all these killings of women and like finding them in like the desert or finding them dead in like alleys has been happening, and she ends up taking a liking to these women, literally making as much as like an encyclopedia of each woman, trying to figure out and trying to dissect who's doing this and what happened. Then we go to 2019, where Rory Moore is helping the guy who allegedly committed these crimes get out on parole. This book has so many layers. Like, that was just like the baby version of the description. This book has so many layers to it. It is insane. Okay? This book had my mind blown every time I closed it on the chapter. Like, this book has short chapters. This book is super easy to read. It's fast paced. It's like, it's peeling back so many things. Like, it's not giving you everything, but when it gives it to you, it makes you not want to close the book. I can't even tell y'all. Just pick up the book and read it and come back here in the comments and tell me I was right. I rated this book a 6-star. I literally smashed it off of the meter of Goodreads and every other book review site. This Charlie Donnelly is like, this is my Roman Empire. I'm recommending this book every time someone asks it to me. Will I be reading Charlie Donnelly's full catalog? Yes. Will it amount up to this book? Prayers. Thank you for staying to the end of this video. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these novels I have mentioned in this video, and let me know how you feel about them, especially this one. I need some dialogue. Again, thank you guys for staying connected and locked in. I thank you guys so much for always supporting and spreading love and just being positive. We're going to continue to read and bring those bangers over. So make sure you guys do all those things. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And see you in the next video.